Just a heads up, guys, my vlog from yesterday has been restored. Apparently CBS was making a claim to the fact that I had Ghost Whisperer playing in the background. So for this video, we'll start off with the facts here. I do not own the rights to Ghost Whisperer or any music you may hear in the background. So hello and welcome to my channel. Today we will be discussing the conspiracy theories surrounding the death of Elvis Presley. Join me while we do a makeup look for the Munchkins from the Wizard of Oz. Today's video does contain a trigger warning. We are talking about drugs, death, and infidelity. Elvis Aaron Presley was born on January 8, 1935. He had an identical twin brother named Jesse Garon Presley, who was born 35 minutes before him, sadly stillborn. His father worked many odd jobs, but was described as having no ambition and went to jail for 8 months after altering a check given to him by his sometime employer. Elvis always had a strong love of music and was encouraged by his teacher to enter a local contest at the age of 10. He was well received by the crowd, but had no musical training and wound up placing 5th. Not too bad for somebody with no training, huh? In August of 1953, Elvis recorded his first acetate disc, which is just a two-sided disc with one song on one side and one song on the other side, followed by a second following in January of 1959. It is important to note that Elvis actually joined a lot of minor bands around this time, none of which really took off. He was just kind of eye candy for the bands. On March 24th of 1958, Elvis was drafted into the U.S. Army. He said he wanted to be treated no differently and that the Army could do anything they wanted and with him. In early August, his mother was diagnosed with hepatitis. It is important to note that hepatitis is deadly, and at the time that Mrs. Presley was diagnosed with it, we did not have the technology or the ability to treat what she had. He was granted emergency leave on August 12th, and she died 2 days later of heart failure. It was a quick deterioration. I mean, she was gone within a few days of being diagnosed with it. She was only 46 at the time of her death. Well, in Friedberg, Presley met 14-year-old Priscilla. I feel like back then everybody overlooked age gaps, but that was a pretty big age gap there. And nowadays, of course, we'd all be up in arms about it because well, yeah, now. They married 7.5 years later. So, I mean, she was 21 when they got married. So, I mean, I guess that's alright. It's better than marrying her when she was 14, but I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. But Presley's only child, Lisa Marie, was born on February 1st, 1968. She did share her father's musical ability as she got older. In 1971, an affair he had with Joyce Bova, which, according to his ex-wife, he had a lot of affairs, resulted in a pregnancy and subsequent abortion. She did not tell Presley about the baby, and friends say he had a rough time dealing with the news of the abortion. The Presleys separated on February 23rd, 1972. They were divorced on August 18th, and it was finalized on October 9th. Twice in 1973, he overdosed on barbiturates. Presley started dating Linda Thompson, but he never really got over the end of his marriage to Priscilla, and they split in November of 1976, and he started with a new girlfriend, Ginger Alden. He went through a lot of girlfriends. It was stated by his ex-wife and his family alike that he never really could be alone. He was always with somebody. And he had a thing for young women. I don't know if that necessarily translates into underage. I just think he liked women that were younger than he was, which I mean, more power to you. I like women that are older than me, so more power to you, I guess. But he had, he was very big about not using drugs and alcohol when he was younger, and then kind of after the whole thing with Priscilla, he started using drugs a lot more often, and he was known to always be high. There were several concerts that he had to cancel because he was unintelligible during his performances. Like, you couldn't even understand the lyrics of the songs that he was singing because he was so far wasted. He did start to struggle shortly after his separation from Priscilla with drug addiction and alcoholism. And Priscilla says that it was even kind of during their marriage that he started exhibiting drug dependency, and that was part of the reason that they ultimately split up. So I mean, he had even told like a singer he had met in the early 60s that she should never touch marijuana again, and all she was smoking was pot, and that it just wasn't he stayed away from alcohol because alcoholics ran in the family, and he was very adamant in his younger years about not doing drugs or drinking. And then somewhere along the line, he went down the same path, unfortunately. On Tuesday, August 16th, 1977, Ginger discovered Elvis unresponsive on the bathroom floor. He was pronounced dead at 3:30 p.m. at the age of 42. His funeral was held at Graceland on Thursday, August 18th. During his funeral, outside the gates, a car plowed into a group of fans that were attending his funeral from a distance, killing 2 and critically injuring a 3rd. Elvis had an enlarged heart, and that mixed with polypharmacy, meaning many drugs. He was on a lot of drugs.
It'll be all right.
Elvis had an enlarged heart, and that mixed with polypharmacy, meaning many drugs, basically drugs that were not prescribed and should not have been taken, mixed with central nervous system depressants prescribed by a doctor, was the cause of death. Anybody else feel like doctors are like the cause of death? Because isn't that what Michael Jackson's people said? The doctor was responsible for his death? Speculation grew that Elvis wasn't actually dead, and that he faked his death to go into hiding. Over the past 4 decades, people claim to have seen Elvis. Some even believe Presley was involved with the mafia. Though the FBI states they never investigated Presley, just the extortion attempts that were made against him. There was never any evidence presented that he was ever part of the mafia or had anything to do with the mafia. We know that if Elvis was still alive, he'd be in his 90s or close to it, so I think it's safe to say that he's definitely not still alive. But he's not the only one people think that faked their death. Others include James Dean and his infamous car accident, claiming that nobody ever saw the body removed from the vehicle, and that there was no evidence that James Dean was ever actually dead. He's dead. He is dead. He's not alive. And Michael Jackson. They claim that nobody ever saw the body of Michael Jackson, and that there was a reason it was a closed casket, and all that fun stuff. And all honesty, Michael Jackson is probably also dead, because if he wasn't, he'd be all over the news. You know, especially nowadays in today's technology, you can't really hide for very long. So if he wasn't dead, we'd know about it. I guarantee it. Another really big, famous conspiracy theory that goes along with Elvis is the death of Marilyn Monroe. You know, everybody has their theory on that, but the biggest theory is that the Kennedys had her killed because she knew too much about the family, and that was why she was killed. But there was belief that maybe there was a 3-way affair going on with one of the Kennedys, and that Elvis was involved in that 3-way affair. So that Marilyn Monroe was killed first, and then later when they realized that Elvis could betray them on the death of Marilyn Monroe as well as on the affair that had happened, Elvis was killed as well. I don't think that's true, because I think if they were worried about that, they would have killed Elvis when they killed Marilyn. But, I mean, who knows? Crazier things have happened. I mean, the Kennedys also gave their daughter a lobotomy because they thought it would fix her. Turns out she was just bipolar and needed medication.
You came back to it because he's your friend. But by the time you got to me,
I love conspiracy theories because it's very interesting to see what other people's thought process is when it comes to weird or crazy shit. UFOs, cult leaders, things like that. I think they're fascinating. I think it's great to see other points of view on these things, but at the same time, I hate conspiracy theories because some of them are so far-fetched that that's what takes over the internet. You can't find, like, the facts or the ones that might be backed up with genuine fact. There are books written by people on conspiracy theories about Elvis. Of course, trying to find those books now is almost impossible because they were written back in, like, the 70s and 80s, and I couldn't find any notation to prove that they were ever written, or even, in fact, I couldn't find them on, like, Kindle or anything else. So I don't know if they were ever written, or if there's people that are just claiming they wrote the books, or if they wrote the books and didn't get them published, or what. But I could not find any actual fact backing up the mafia story. I mean, I guess if you're going to get somebody to launder money for you, why not a famous singer? But I just feel like there would have been more evidence backing that up. And, like, the FBI said they had released, like, 670 pages worth of documents on Elvis Presley that they had, and none of them contained any evidence that he had ever been involved with the mafia. And they stated that he had never worked for the FBI, that they had never looked into, him being part of the mafia. He had never been used as a confidential informant. There was just no evidence to back up that series of claims in any way, shape, or form. There is, however, facts that back up the fact that he actually died. I mean, you gotta think, heart failure ran in his family, heart problems ran in his family. He was heavy into drugs such as barbiturates and opiates. He was prescribed doctor-prescribed medications for depression and anxiety, and he was a heavy drinker. And really, even in today's day and age, if you were to mix certain medications with alcohol, it could have deadly effects. And he might have had some more, like, underlying mental health issues that we don't know anything about, such as, bipolar disorder or anything really like that. Because issues like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder, the people that have these things and don't see doctors and don't ever get help for it tend to turn to self-medicating. So they turn to... Hold on. But they turn to drugs or alcohol or whatever to self-medicate. It's one of my favorite sayings in the world is that everybody's addicted to something. We all are addicted to something, whether it be smoking, drugs, sex, food, whatever it may be. Everybody's addicted to something. And I think that's very true of everyone in the world, whether they want to admit to it or not. I'm a vapor. That's really my addiction. But I mean, I've had my issues in the past too with things. But I also have bipolar disorder with borderline personality. So, honestly, what I feel like I need that day varies from the day to day of life. It's just how it works, But I think there are conspiracy theories that are just for fun, like where we know they're not legit. We know they're not. We know they're not real. Some people believe in ghosts and aliens, some people don't. I believe in ghosts, I don't believe in aliens. So, conspiracy theories are fun, but they're hard to research. They're hard to get any fact to back up said conspiracy theories. As I said, I read like 25 articles on the conspiracy theory part. Like, I got all the information about his life from his Wikipedia page, but all the conspiracy theories, I read a bunch of like different articles about and couldn't find any factual information that they cited that I could check to back it up. And that was why I left a lot of them out, because I don't like, even in conspiracy theories, I don't like to present evidence that I have no fact to back up. People claim that they've seen him. Yeah, people also claim they've seen Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. But we have no evidence of either of these things being in existence.
No.
It's just... So even when it comes to conspiracy theories, you can pretty much guarantee that I will always try to do thorough research and find some fact to maybe back it up. And when I say fact, I mean like actual cited sources, photographs that aren't doctored, documentation, something along those lines that shows me, oh, they not only saw this, but it was also seen by so-and-so who managed to record it. So doing conspiracy theories is always fun, and I like to talk about the facts parts and then give you, you know, the most popular of conspiracy theories, and you draw your own conclusions. But I will never say for certain that that particular conspiracy theory definitely has merit if I can't find anything to back it up. It's harder to prove conspiracy theories than it is to, say, prove murder. Jack the Ripper has a lot of conspiracy theories around him, but I mean, if you think about it, it also happened in the 1800s and they had no documentation and people were dying left and right at young ages. So it's very possible that Jack the Ripper was someone who committed these 5 murders and then just up and died, because back then that was not impossible to happen. But there is evidence, recorded evidence, of Elvis Presley's autopsy. There were 3 different doctors who performed said autopsy, because the first 2 just, they were sued for medical negligence by the family. And so there's like multiple people that saw Elvis dead, and there's multiple recordings of, like I said, his autopsy and whatnot. Like, there's more evidence supporting the fact that he's dead than alive. And I'm not saying that even if he was alive, he couldn't be alive now, because, I mean, we know several actors and actresses who lived well into their 90s. But genetics was against him from the very beginning. There was also a theory that he contracted hepatitis from his mother when he visited her, which, I mean, is entirely possible. But if you think about how quickly the disease took his mom's life, I feel like we would have had a little more information on that front about it. That's just me. I just feel like you would have had a lot more information if that was the case, and he probably would have died a lot faster. Nowadays, there's a cocktail of drugs that can keep even HIV and AIDS patients alive, and, you know, they're working on finding a cure, which they've been working on finding a cure since the 1980s, but back then you didn't even really have that option because it wasn't really something that was acknowledged. Sad as that is.
Finishing up the exam, he's going to be fine. They're not going to open him up. When you check him out, he's got lots of abrasions.
Give me just a second, guys.
Moderate lacerations, nothing that looks like a knife wound. What about all that blood here? Well, like I said, he's pretty banged up.
So I don't know. I mean, my theory goes along with the facts. Elvis died in 19 whatever, and he's not still alive, and unfortunately that's sad, because I'm sure there are many of his fans to this day that would love for him to still be alive. But I'm going with fact. And the facts say that he's he's not with us anymore. His own daughter and his other family members, his, granddaughters, whatever, they have stated that the conspiracy theories, even continuing into this day and age, have brought a lot of unnecessary pain to the family that could have been avoided if people would just leave it alone. But that will never happen, because there are people that just insist that they know everything and their facts outweigh the medical facts and the proof from his family. So there's a lot of people who also say that it wasn't him in his grave because they misspelled his middle name. Hold on one second.
Well, that's what I was hoping you could tell me.
I have got to get a new eyeliner marker. This one's dying.
But it turns out this woman was. It wasn't a dream.
Anyway, but the fact of the matter is that he eventually just changed his name himself. He went from Aaron to Aaron. We don't know why he did this, but he did do it. So there's that. Guess he just didn't want to be Aaron anymore. And you know what? That's okay. You do you, buddy. You do you. People change their names all the time. And then there are people like, oh, well, why would he change his name? He was famous. A lot of the famous people that you know do not have the names that you know them under. I was talking to my wife about this yesterday, and I pointed out some of the most popular stars. Nicki Minaj's real name is not Nicki Minaj. Carmen Electra's real name is Tara Fitzpatrick. Miley Cyrus was originally Destiny Hope Cyrus, and they changed her name to Miley. So there's a lot of stuff that would back up the fact that he could have changed his name of his own free will. So I don't know, but everybody's got their theories, and that's fine. We love conspiracies, and if there's anything that you can guarantee will ever be around in the future, it's that there are conspiracy theories. There will always be conspiracy theories, and people are coming up with new ones to old problems every day because they think they know what's going on, and they don't. As per usual, tomorrow we will be moving on to just skincare and makeup video, and then Friday is your usual True Crime Friday, in which we will be discussing Ed Gein, who is the inspiration for several movies, including the Leatherface character in the Bates Motel.
Yeah, but especially the one we hope didn't. The woman she saw getting cut. Yeah. So look at his friends, okay?
And I believe Silence of the Lambs.
Missing in Grandview. If not, nearby towns, okay? I'm on it.
And another one that I cannot think of the name. Oh, American Psycho. That's another one.
Alright. You hear anything? Call me.
So if you have a weak stomach, I suggest you not show up for Friday's show, because it's going to be graphic and it's going to be violent, and there will be a lot of descriptions of things that you may not otherwise want to hear about.
Near him, menacing him?
Next Thursday, we are going to be discussing the conspiracy, or next Wednesday, sorry, we are going to be discussing the conspiracy theories surrounding the death of Marilyn Monroe. Wednesday will be your normal makeup routine.
When you realized you saw the blood.
Tuesday is the book series on Dorothy Must Die. Monday is just whatever fun thing I do on Monday that I decide to record and post. And that's pretty much basic. Yeah, that's it right there. I have not decided yet what I'll be doing for Saturday and Sunday segments. Well, Sunday is my day off. It's my no makeup day. It's my day off. So I don't film on Sundays. But I don't know what I'm going to do for Saturday's segment yet.
But come on, be smart. Only do it after the police are on to you.
I might do a cooking segment on Saturday.
Kind of psychotic break.
Yeah, and really believes everything he's saying.
I really don't think he has any idea what he did.
But be sure to join me tomorrow for makeup and skincare, and Friday for the story on Ed Gein.
The only information we have is his name and his blood type.
And as
Blood that was
always,
inserted
make the
testing
best possible
for
choices for you and your life. And I'll see you all tomorrow.
Or a ghost, right?